Thanks, David, very much. Appreciate your help. Good morning, everybody. That was one.
It is.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. Welcome. We'll call to order this regular meeting of the Lawrence County Board of Commissioners. Today is Tuesday, September 10 of 2024. A couple of housekeeping items. We are live streaming this meeting, and it's also being recorded. Also, if you have any type of an electronic communication device, if you'd be kind enough to put it on silent or vibrate, we would appreciate your doing that. We always begin our meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance, and then we'd ask you to remain standing, and we'll have a moment of silence. Mr. Vanasco, could you please pledge the
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing. We'll have a moment of silence. Thank you very much. Could we have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Sinata,
Here.
Commissioner Kennedy,
Here.
Commissioner Vogler.
Here. All three of us are here, so we have a quorum and we can move forward. I hope everybody got a copy of the agenda. And next on that agenda is explanation of procedure to the audience. We always set aside 2 opportunities for public comment. One will be in just a few moments, and then we'll also open it back up before we adjourn. You're welcome to make a comment both times, or one of the 2 times, or if you're just here to listen, that's equally fine. We do ask that your comments be related to county government matters. If you have a federal concern, we suggest you speak to your federal legislators. The same would be true if it's a state-related matter. We would refer you to your state officials, or if it's a local city, borough, or township matter, we refer you to those folks. But it's a county matter. We're happy to hear your comments. Next on the agenda, we always do put time aside for any of the row officers who might be in attendance at our meeting, but today none of them are here. They're not obligated to be here, but sometimes they do have business to bring before us. Apparently not today. So that takes us to a public comment. We do ask also if you would like to speak, state your name for the record, and if you could try to limit your time to about 5 minutes or so, out of respect for everybody's schedules, we'd appreciate that. So I'll open it up, and if anybody would wish to make a comment at this time. Yes,
Ken
sir.
Ritter.
I'm sorry?
Kenneth Ritter.
Yes, sir. Mr. Ritter.
Yeah. Well, my concern is the Lawrence County mental health. Now, I've talked to Joe Vanasco 2 times when Representative Sonato was a representative. I talked to him. Okay, the Lawrence County mental health oversees all the waivers in Lawrence County. And my son is severely autistic, mental illness, nonverbal. Okay. And for the last 3 years, I've been battling with Lawrence County mental health, because they have for lack of better words, a job that they are supposed to perform. And they are the overseer of the consolidated waiver. They're supposed to oversee what the supports coordinating organizations do. They're supposed to provide the family with resources to help navigate the system. While they do not know how to navigate the system themselves. Now, right now, I got my son in a day program in the car in Mercer County because the county and the supports coordinating dropped the ball. They couldn't find no day program for him. I had to find a day program. Now, there's no way to transport him up there. We can't find providers. And a year and a half ago, I started this process. And all I get is pat answers. They're the easy way out. They say, we don't have providers. Well, they don't even want to look. I mean, they look for 6 people. Well, we can't find 9. You know what I mean? And another thing, it's a public meeting. judge's office on it, district attorney, all, some of yous might, they never informed the public that we are allowed to go to that meeting. I've been involved in the system for 17 years. Scott Baldwin, I called him on the phone and said, can I come and attend that meeting? No, we got a catered lunch. You're not allowed to attend that meeting. Well, what an answer. So I had to call the Office of Developmental Programs, Deputy Superintendent, and the public is allowed to attend that meeting, regardless if there's a free meal or whatever. This ain't about a free meal. It's about the people in Lawrence County with disabilities. Now, they say they do their job. The ODP, who oversees them, ordered them to have an ISP meeting every week for the next ever, probably until they get it straightened out, because I'm guilty of it too. I believe what the system, I believe everybody's doing what they're supposed to do. Well, my son's ISP and all his stuff is in disarray. And they tell me they do their job. Well, they're supposed to, before they approve an ISP, they're supposed to read it and make sure everything is all right. They were going to throw them out of my car because the county didn't check the ISP because the wrong codes were in it. Nobody could get paid. Okay, they corrected the problem. That should have never happened. Never in a million years. And now the county's answer to me as a parent, the Shannon School District spent $20,000 transitioning him to McCarr because my son is a problem. He's doing good, but he's a problem. Now the county's answer is, well, let's pull him out of there and put him in Lark out in Lawrence County. But why didn't they do that 2 years ago? Why didn't they put him on the list 2 years ago? Because they didn't care. They dropped the ball. They didn't want to be responsible to do their job. And I know I get excited. You might have to get a cane and pull me out the door. But I'm 66 years old. I have a 21-year-old kid. I've been battling this system for 17 years. And I'm tired of it because nobody wants to be responsible. They won't even think out of the box. I mean, then I travel 80 miles a day. I told them in the beginning I wasn't doing it for getting paid for 40 miles because their rule is you can only get paid 67 cents a mile when the kid is in the car. I said, there's better be finding somebody. Well, here I am transporting them 80 miles a day. And their answer is, we can't find a provider. The Axe bus won't put an aid on the bus. Well, you just run all these programs. Does anybody think outside the box? I mean, when I died, he was already in a group home. They almost killed him. Nobody did nothing. Not the supports coordinating. I went to Chris Sinati, gave me a thing. Here, file a complaint with the Attorney General's office. They don't even want to hear it. They don't care. I mean, I don't know what else to say, but somebody needs to oversee the mental health, that office over there in Lawrence County. And I filed a complaint against them. And I had a thing with them, and they outright lied. They said, I called the ODP, don't be calling them today. They said, we're not responsible to make sure the supports coordinators are doing their job. Denise Zona and Scott Baldwin, they are most certainly responsible to make sure that the supports coordinating, they're over there rubber stamping stuff. There's 500 and some people in Lawrence County with disabilities. How many other families are not getting the services that they're qualified for because nobody does their job? They don't even have literature to give you over there. Not even literature. I had to fight them to get a book to find providers that I had to find myself. And they said, we gave you that. Well, I got a letter from the deputy superintendent at ODP proving that they had to call Lawrence County and make the Human Service Center give me the list of providers because nobody wanted to do it. And I argue with them, and everybody's mad at me, but I don't care. Let the chips fall where they may, because something needs done to help the disability people. I know it's a big mess is what it is, but I'm going to start at the ground floor. If I got to go to Lawrence County Court, if I got to go to federal court, I'm going, because something that you can't just keep rubber stamping things. I mean, I'm guilty of it too, but I was involved in every ISP meetings. If they don't put the information in there, I'm trusting the system to do the job, and they don't do it. And then I get answers like, oh, you can't go to the meeting because we have catered lunch. Well, The mental health law of 1966 says nobody in the county even knows that exists. How come they don't put it in the newspaper? How come they don't send it to the parents of the people with disability kids? I mean, how about, I will fight for my kid, but there's other people, I did it for years. I believe whatever they tell me. Well, I have no trust in Lawrence County mental health at all. And I told them that, Greg Hall, Scott Baldwin, step up and be responsible for what you were supposed to do. And I mean, that's all I got to say. I'm sorry if I get excited and rant, but if you had a disabled kid, there's people that are in worse shape than me because they don't have the whatever. I got intestinal fortitude. I'll argue for my son, but there's probably poorer people that don't even have the resources that I have, and nobody will even offer them the proper resources because it's just rubber stamp. I mean, that's it. I'll shut up. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ritter. Appreciate your being here. Are there other public comments this morning? Mrs. Hahn, good morning.
Good morning. First, thank you for releasing the document regarding the resolution for the Ford Office Technologies. It's kind of vague, so it could have been anything. And now that I have a copy of the record, I see it's just for a printer. Thank you very much. But I would like to remind the board that all of the board documents are public record, and they need to be made accessible to the public before you vote on them. Public can't make comment to weigh in on those records or those approvals if we don't have access to them before the vote. Then my other comment today is a question. It was brought up at the last election board meeting about the ballots. And I'm wondering why the county is not able to get our ballots any earlier. We were told that sometime in the beginning of October, maybe middle October. But by law, early voting is supposed to happen beginning 52 days before the election, so that's not going to happen. So I'd like to know more about what the delay is in our ballots being printed.
Thank you. I'll note that technically, but hear me out, technically, we're not convened right now as the Board of Elections. So the question you had about the election matters would be more appropriate to come before us when we are meeting as the Board of Elections. That's technically. That being said, it is my understanding that we cannot print ballots until legal challenges are resolved at the state level. There are some candidates who have filed nominating petitions at the state level for some of the statewide offices. Who are those filings are being challenged in court. So right now, no county in the Commonwealth has the ability to print a ballot since we don't know who the final candidates are. If we were to print a ballot and allow people to start voting, and then 2 or 3 days later, the court pulls somebody's name off of the ballot, that would create an issue. So it's my understanding that we're in this holding pattern, as is every other county in the Commonwealth, until these legal challenges to these candidates' petitions are resolved. Now, do my colleagues know anything else over and above that? Have I misstated?
I think, Chairman, your statement is correct. I know that the last time we had this discussion, Mr. Germaini, they are waiting to get the approval. I mean, they want to get these ballots printed and they want to start the process as quickly as possible. But as Chairman Vogler said, if they would print ballots and start the process and then the court rules in a different manner, we would have serious issues here in Lawrence County. So we're just following the guidelines that's been set by the state in Pennsylvania, and we intend to follow the law to the T. And that's exactly what Mr. Germaini is doing and the election board is doing, because we do not want to see anything that can be challenged. We want to make sure it's done in the proper way. So what you said is right on target. We're just waiting. You know, once the court says that the candidates are fine, that Mr. Jermaine will have those printed immediately. That's my understanding. That's the last conversation we had with him. So
We need a green light, for lack of a better term. We need a green light from the Department of State saying to us, all of the issues are resolved. You may now start to print and distribute the ballots. But until we get that green light from the Commonwealth, we're in this holding pattern along with the other 66 counties.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Lund. Are there other public comments this morning? Hearing none, once again, we'll open it back up before we adjourn. Thank you, everybody. Under fiscal and contractual, we have warrant registers that have been provided to us by the county controller's office, also referred to as check reconciliation registers. It's a listing of the various bills that have been paid by the controller's office. These are dated August 30, September 4, and September 6 of 2024. If anybody wishes to see them, we'll certainly share them with you. I'll give my colleagues time to look them over. And once you gentlemen are ready, I could take a motion for us to accept these documents.
I move we accept the warrant resolutions.
I'll second it. Thank you both, gentlemen. Do either of you have any questions about the warrant registers? If not, we can take a roll call, please, to accept them.
Commissioner Sinata?
Yes.
Commissioner Kennedy?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Vanessa. Also in our packet, we have the minutes of the Lawrence County Commissioners meetings, actually that were held on August 27 of this year, as well as September 3. And again, gentlemen, you could look them over, and whenever you're ready, I could take a motion for us to approve the minutes.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second the motion.
Thank you, gentlemen. Do either of you have any questions or concerns about the minutes? Hearing none, we can have a roll call, please.
Commissioner Sinata?
Yes.
Commissioner Kennedy?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thanks, Vanessa. Under written communications, we have one document that will enter into the record. This comes from Pennsylvania American Water Company, Corporate Counsel Teresa Harold out of Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania. The letter we have in our packet was sent to the County Planning Commission. I'll also note that the commissioners received a similar letter. And it's actually the one from the Planning Commission is a little bit older than the one we got. Yours is dated back in July, and I think we got one more recently. But either way, we want to enter this into the record. Pennsylvania American Water Company filed an application to the Public Utility Commission for approval of the right to offer, render, furnish, and supply water service in an additional portion of New Beaver Borough, Lawrence County, Pennsylvania. And the docket number is A2024-3049865. So we're, and the Planning Commission has sent a letter of support, because it's our understanding that this expanded service would include the Stonecrest Business Park on State Route 18 in New Beaver Borough. So we're pleased to see this. That's the one document we have today. Could I have a motion for us to enter it into our records?
I move we enter it into the records.
I'll second.
Thank you. Any comments, gentlemen? If not, we'll take a roll call, please.
Commissioner Sinata,
Yes.
Commissioner Kennedy,
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler,
Yes.
motion carries.
Thank you, Vanessa. Next, we have commissioner reports and comments. I get to go first today. I do want to note that tonight, we're kind of going in different directions because we received actually 2 invitations to 2 different gatherings. The Beaver Lawrence Farm Bureau is holding their annual fall dinner meeting in New Galilee in Beaver County. And I'll be attending that on behalf of my colleagues. Also tonight, Cray Youth and Family Services is holding a dinner in honor, I believe, is it their 40th anniversary? And Mr. Sonata and Mr. Kennedy will be attending that dinner as well. So we congratulate Cray Youth and Family Services for their many years of helping people in our community. And thank you both, gentlemen, for attending that meeting. That's all I have this morning. Mr. Kennedy.
I'll make it quick. Since Chris was out of town, I had to go do some visiting. So I went to Shenango Township with their craft show at the park, very successful. Spent a couple hours out there with them guys and got to see them. And then I went to New Wilmington, my hometown, got to see a concert Saturday night. So I got to play Chris for a couple of days. Chris, I hope you had a nice time out of here, but you were back on Sunday and back at it again, I see. That's all I have.
We might need you to do that again later this month at Old Timers Day, but we'll talk. Okay. Not that I'm calling you an old timer.
I'm the oldest one here between you.
Yeah, but you look the youngest, so. Well, thanks, Dan. Commissioner Sonata.
Thank you, Chairman, and thank you, Dan. Sorry I had to miss the Wake's final concert in New Wilmington. I know that they always bring the house down out there. I was there last year when they performed out there, and it was a huge crowd, and I know you said that it was even larger this year. So, great band, and hopefully, I know they all have commitments and everything else, but if you've ever heard the Wake, they were great for Lawrence County. Hopefully sometime in the future, they can get together again and at least put on a special concert for us. So, I had the opportunity last Thursday in the morning to actually go out to the Lawrence County Day of Caring for the United Way. And I just briefly talk about that. It was nice to see so many businesses in the community, social services, and especially the students from many of the local high schools that took part in that. I've always done that every year with my former staff. They used to go out in the community and do some community work, and sometimes I would help them. And working with some of these kids, last year I had the opportunity from the Career Technical School to be with those kids. And I'm going to tell you, some of those kids are so impressive. They have skills. Dan, they take after you a little bit with their skills with their hands, knowing that. And they do a good job. And I had a chance to visit with some of them this year out in Cascade Park. And I met Gail Young and all those who participated in it. It was nice to see it's like a community coming together, and you looked in the paper and see some of the stuff that they were doing. It's a good day, and they had huge amounts, and I know a lot of the businesses, and I know Jerry Zona from the courthouse was there with his group, representing us as part of the county. So I just want to throw that out there. So there are a lot of good people in the community, especially when that comes for the Day of Caring. You see a lot of things happen, even downtown with the cleaning up, and they were doing it that day. And it just doesn't happen on the Day of Caring. I know a lot of these groups are out there all the time trying to make community look nicer. That's one big day where you get them all together, especially utility companies. I think we saw the water company, Penn Power, and Columbia Gas even maybe had someone there. Just a lot of their employees were there for that day working. So, and it took time away from their other business and their jobs. So I think that's important when businesses allow their employees to do that. So that's really all I have, and look forward to next week, and look forward to spending dinner tonight with Craig for the 40th anniversary. Chairman, give our regards to our farming community tonight.
Certainly. Thank you both, gentlemen. This takes us to new business, and the first item is from our court administration, and we're very honored today to have the new Lawrence County Court Administrator, Amy DiMuccio. Amy, if you mind coming up to the microphone, and we congratulate you on your appointment.
Thank you very much.
And it's my understanding that your appointment is actually made by the Court of the Commonwealth, the AOPC, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct, yes,
So that's quite an honor.
thank you.
And we know that you're going to do a great job. So we appreciate your joining us this morning. What number would we give this resolution?
65.
265. And this is a proposal for a maintenance agreement with the company that provides copier equipment services for the courts, Ford Office Technologies out of Connellsville down in Fayette County. Amy, I'll let you fill us in on any details that you might wish to share with us.
Sure. This is for the main copier on the third floor. It's utilized by all court administration staff and all the courtroom staffs, court reporters. It's a high-speed, high-volume photocopier. It's also our fax machine that we utilize upstairs. We send, notices out to the entire county. We are ending a current lease that was a 5-year lease. And the new lease will also be 5 years, and it's actually gonna save the county about $20 a month. And we're getting a comparable piece of equipment with all the same, features, and it'll be a brand new piece of equipment.
If I'm reading this correctly, the monthly payment would be $197?
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate your providing us that information. Let me see if Commissioner Sanada has any questions.
No, but Amy, we appreciate getting a better lease for the counties.
Yes.
We appreciate your diligence on that.
Thank you, Chris. Mr.
In my-
Kennedy?
In my past duties, I did one of these at Wilmington, and they do all the maintenance, they do all the supplies, they do everything, and I'm reading it here the same way.
Yes, it's all
It's a
included.
good contract. We knock on wood. Ours never went down the whole time I was there. They came and serviced it on a regular schedule, and it works good. So it'll be the same here, same people too.
Yes.
Very good. Well, thank you, gentlemen. Unless there are any other questions, could I have a motion then for proposed resolution 265?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second the motion.
Thank you, gentlemen. We'll take a roll call, please.
Commissioner Sinata?
Yes.
Commissioner Kennedy?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes,
Motion carries.
thank you. Amy, you're welcome to stick around, but knowing how busy you probably are, if you have to head upstairs, we understand.
Okay. Thank you all.
Thanks for joining us. Wish you a good day.
Thanks.
Mike Grippo is here from CYS. Lisa Haddad is here from juvenile probation. Think for a second. Now, it looks like the first proposal, number 266, is an agreement with the Commonwealth. And if I'm reading this correctly, then the next three are contracts. Do I have that right?
Yeah.
So I think what we ought to do, unless my colleagues object, is take the first one on its own, and then we can take the contracts perhaps as a group, if that's okay with everybody. So the first one, number 266, is a proposed agreement between Children and Youth Services with the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania for the Child Welfare Information Solution, which is an exchange information process. But let me see if you want to fill us in on some of the details.
This actually is the bloodline. There's 58 counties that's involved in it. And depending on the size of the county is the rate that you pay. So Lawrence County, part of it's $2,746 a year. And again, that allows us using CAPS and the data sharing, it allows 58 other counties to use the same cap system that we do. So this is sugar data.
You mentioned 58, we have 67
Yeah.
counties.
Yeah.
Any reason?
Well, like Allegheny doesn't use caps.
I
There's
see.
certain counties that don't use the cap
I
system
see.
that we, yeah. I look for someday that it should be standard.
Now, I'm embarrassed to ask this question, but my bad memory. Do we go through this process every year?
Yes.
That's what I thought, and when you said about Allegheny, then that triggered, yeah, you probably told me this a year ago. Now, these gentlemen weren't here, in
Yeah.
fairness to them.
Yeah, not every county uses that.
Okay, it's all coming back to me now, so, but thank you for that. Let me see if Mr. Kennedy has any questions. Okay, thank you. Chris, anything? Okay, so Mike, you're recommending that we approve this? Okay, may I have a motion, please?
I move that we accept.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, thank you. If there are no other questions or concerns, we can have a roll call, please.
Commissioner Sinata?
Yes.
Commissioner Kennedy?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Now, for the next three, Chris and Dan, if you're both all right, we can take them as a group, but please, we'll stop at each one in case you have questions. So the first one is a contract with Adelphoi Village, and Mike always gives us this document, which is very helpful. They are located in Latrobe, Westmoreland County. Mike or Lisa, who's handling this one?
I will.
Okay, Lisa, thank you very much. We'll turn it over to you.
Sure, this is a renewal contract. I would probably venture to say Adelphi is probably one of our top 5 type of placement facilities throughout the Commonwealth. JPO specifically uses them in institutional type setting for youth. It could range from sex offenses to just general enhanced supervision. It would all be categorized, at least at our end for JPL, as an institutional, which would have a reimbursement rate of 60-40, 60% being the state, 40% being the county. We've utilized them quite a bit. Because of their large capacity, they have more bed availability than your smaller type settings and so forth. So we're trying to find a program specifically to match the needs of our youth. Chances are they would have more availability as far as beds and so forth. So we tend to look, if we need to go to the larger type facilities, and they've been able to accommodate us at the JPO level. I don't know if you have anything to add, Mike, or not.
Yeah, I mean, we do use them for group home and foster. We currently have 2 CYS children there in the group home. But again, it's a co-partner between CYS and JPO. We use the same facility.
Well, you answered my first question, so thank you. My question was, do both of you use it? And obviously you do.
Yeah,
They're based in Latrobe. Do they have facilities closer to Lawrence County, to your knowledge?
I want to say most of ours, Greensburg area, I don't know if that's the same.
That's
road.
same town, yeah,
So
it's Westmoreland County.
I think they also may have other facilities outside of that specific area or region
Yes.
of the county, of the state. So
Okay.
that's typically where most of our youth are.
Thank you for that.
it's a large, I did an audit there and it's a large facility.
Right. That's probably a good hour and a half, maybe 2 hours from there, by the time you get there, because Latrobe's beyond Greensburg, it's in an easterly direction, so. Well, thank you. I'll see if Mr. Sonata has any questions. No? Mr. Kennedy? No. Okay, thank you. That'll take us then, by the way, that was number 267. And then 268 would be Families United Network, Inc. of Muncie, Pennsylvania, which is out in Lycoming County. Who takes the lead on this one?
I will.
Mike does.
It's a renewal, it's a foster care. The prices range depending on what unit they're in, $21.79 to $145 a day. Currently, we don't have any children placed, but over the last 2 years, we've had 4 in 22-23 and 1 in 23-24. They are asking between 3% raise, but if you notice at the bottom of that worksheet on the percent increase, if you notice the specialized medical down, you notice how it decreased a lot. That's the importance of waiting for OCYF to approve rates. Because anything over that, then the county is responsible. So that's why, this was the first year that I was aware of doing it, and you can see where it reduced 14%, 24%, 6%, on the rate. So that's, on the rate, OCYF is what the approved rate that they approved for. So we try to hold them to that because the county would be responsible for it.
I appreciate your pointing that out, Mike. I'll ask Mr. Kennedy if he has any questions. No? Thank you, Mr. Sonata.
No.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen. Number 269 would be the Summit Schools based in the Herman, Pennsylvania, which is over in Butler County. Who takes the lead on this? Lisa does.
Summit School is also a shared renewal contract, so it's shared between CYS and JPL. I think we've utilized this facility more than CYS has in the past. We like to be able to keep our kids as close as possible. So if the facility matches the needs, then we're looking close to foster family counseling, family visitation, being able to keep those relationships close as best we can. Summit provides services for drug and alcohol, regular residential. It's also an institutional type setting where it's a 60-40 split. But again, they're probably one of our greater utilized facilities that we use in JPL, and we would ask to be able to continue to use them, please.
Very good, thank you. I'll see if, pardon me, if Commissioner Sonata has any questions.
No.
Thank you. Mr. Kennedy? All righty. Gentlemen, you've heard the proposals from both Mike and Lisa. These are numbers 267, 268, and 269. If you're so willing, we could take one motion to cover all three.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Dan.
I'll second the motion.
Thank you, Chris. Are there any other concerns? Hearing none, we'll take a roll call, please.
Commissioner Sinata?
Yes.
Commissioner Kennedy?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you so much. Well, it's good to see you both. I appreciate your taking the time to join us today.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
I'll let you have it. You're okay.
The planning office has a couple of proposals for us, and Amy McKinney is our planning director. You're the second person named Amy to be sitting here today. You know that's a good name. Number 270 would be an agreement that we would enter into with Beyond Corporation, which is based out in Edinburgh, so I'm assuming they're more than likely in Mahoning Township. This is for, these are contracts for work to be done on 3 of our boat launches that the county owns, but can you fill us in, please?
Yeah, and I can talk about both of them actually.
Oh,
They're both,
okay, so
we
then,
applied to the Western Pennsylvania Conservancy. They have a program where you can apply for funding for maintenance on boat launches. It's one of the things that, one of their initiatives is to get people on the water. McKinney Russell is actually, it was funded through the WPC. So we were eligible to apply for a smaller amount for the upkeep, some little maintenance. But because we have additional boat launches, we were able to apply for funds, and we received $21,000. And so these 2 resolutions would enter into contracts with both Beyond Corp and North Beaver Contracting to do work at our boat launches. And it's work that's necessary. It's work we've been talking with Joe that needs to be done. We've been working with Bill Humphrey, the county engineer, and luckily we were able to receive some funding here to help cover most of the costs that need to be done. So Beyond Corp would perform the work at Millennium and Beyond Bevington, Millennium, Beyond, and Bevington boat launches. Those are, that would be resolution 270. Beyond is the amount not to exceed 5,520. Millennium is the same, not to exceed 5,520. And Bevington is the amount not to exceed 5,520. As long as you guys approve that work, then we will issue them a notice to proceed, and it would take them about 2 weeks to do it. And it's basically just doing some gravel of the parking lot, just, freshen it up.
Let me ask you a few quick questions.
Yeah.
Is this the first time we've received this grant money from the Conservancy?
Well, the first time we received it was for the Kenny Russell boat launch.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, you noted that.
Yeah.
But For this,
For the
for
maintenance,
purposes of this.
This is the first
on
time,
it.
yeah, they contacted us, they came out and looked at it, and they let us know that we had the ability to apply for this.
Did they require a format by which you had to follow in terms of how you found the companies to do the work? Did you have to get bids? Well, no, you wouldn't have had to have
Yeah,
gotten
we tried to
bids
get
because
quotes, yep.
the dollar amount for each one would be below the threshold, so. Okay, and then just for the record, these are the 5 county-owned boat launches. The Beyond is in Mahoning Township on the Mahoning River, if I'm correct. Millennium is in Neshannock Township on the Shenango River. Bevington is in Wayne Township on the Beaver River. So far, I'm doing all right, Dan. Let's see if I can get through the next 2. McKinney Russell is on the Mahoning River, and it's in Mahoning Township. And then the McQuiston is in Pulaski Township on the Shenango River. Wow,
You're good.
that doesn't happen very often. You got me on a good day. Well, this is wonderful. Is it your expectation, and I think it says here, once we approve this, work must begin within 2 weeks of signing the
Yes.
contract,
Must
so.
be done must start within 2 weeks of us signing the contracts and issuing the notice to proceed, and then they have 3 weeks to finish the work.
Okay,
So
so
within the
it'll be
next
done.
month and a half.
That's great.
Yeah.
Let me ask Mr. Kennedy if he has any questions.
No.
Okay, thank you, Dan. And Mr. Sanada? No. Okay, well, this is wonderful. And, the Western Pennsylvania Conservancy, they do a lot of good things
They do.
in the Commonwealth. And they're best known for falling water, as you know, down in Fayette County. But they do a lot of other good things. So that's great. I really commend you for whenever you initially established your working relationship with this organization, but obviously you've enhanced it, so that's tremendous.
Thank you.
Well, gentlemen, do you mind if we take both of these under one motion? Okay, may I have a motion for 270 and 271?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Dan. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Chris, I thank you. Any other questions for Amy? If not, we'll take a roll call.
Commissioner Sinata,
Yes.
Commissioner Kennedy,
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler,
Yes.
motion carries.
Thank you. And Amy, I'll note it when we adjourn, before we adjourn, but tomorrow the planning commission does meet
Yes.
at noon at the New Beaver
Yes.
Borough Municipal Building. I'm hoping my colleagues, I can't go, I'm gonna be out of town, but, on county business, but I'm hoping my 2 colleagues are able to go.
I will be there.
That's great. So I hope it's a good meeting.
Yeah, hopefully, yes.
Amy, as always, thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen, appreciate it.
Have a great day.
You too.
We have a proposed budget amendment today. This is number 272. We do this when there is unanticipated or unbudgeted revenue that has come in. And we received $1,402.24 from the Emergency Management Agency. It's from the Emergency Management Agency of the Commonwealth, I believe. And we're noting it under the revenue fund account for the Department of Public Safety.
Correct.
Thank you. And then where we're allocating those dollars is towards their travel and training line item. And this is for reimbursement for the 2024 Homeland Security Conference that either Mr. Strobel or some of his folks more than likely attended. Thank you. Mr. Sanada, any questions on this one? No. Okay, thank you. Mr. Kennedy?
None.
Okay. May I have a motion for proposed resolution 272?
I move we approve resolution 272.
I'll second.
Thank you, gentlemen. And if there are no other questions, we can take a roll call.
Commissioner Sinata,
Yes.
Commissioner Kennedy,
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler,
Yes?
motion carries.
Thank you. We have 4 transfer requests. I'll read through them. Gentlemen, stop me if you have any questions. Under the commissioners, we are asking for a transfer of $330 from the commissioner's contingency into that of the line item of maintenance and repairs. This is to cover invoices from Direct Image. That's the copiers. Thank you. The second request is from Domestic Relations. They are asking for a $1,230 transfer from their contingency into that of their electric line item to cover their electric bill that they're building across the street, I assume. Thank you. Maintenance is asking for a transfer of $37,000. 17,000 of that is coming from their contingency, and then 20,000 of it is coming from materials and supplies. It's all going into their electric line item. And I'm assuming, is that for just the electric?
Yeah,
Throughout,
most of the campus, with the exception of being domestic relations.
okay, thank you. And then finally, the treasurer's office is asking for a $250 transfer from his contingency into that of maintenance and repairs, and that was also for Direct Image, which would be their copiers. Chris or Dan, do either of you have any questions or concerns? Okay. May I have a motion then to approve the 4 requested transfers?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second. Thank you both, gentlemen. If there are no other questions, we can take a roll call, please.
Commissioner Sinata,
Yes.
Commissioner Kennedy,
Yes.
excuse me, Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Bear with me just one second, please. Couple of announcements since we've taken care of our voting matters. This board will convene 1 week from today, September 17 at 10 a.m. for our next public meeting. As we noted earlier, the County Planning Commission will meet tomorrow, September 11 at 12 noon at the New Beaver Borough Municipal Building for their monthly public meeting. Now, if I'm not mistaken, the prison board meeting has been canceled. Is that your understanding?
It has
That was the email we got.
Thank you. So it states here that there will be a prison board meeting on the 18th of September. That is not the case. I believe Mr.
I
Lamacusa, the
just
chair.
found that out
Okay.
yesterday afternoon, so it was too late to.
That's fine.
So, yeah,
That's fine. But I think we learned from the chair of that board that that meeting is canceled.
that's correct.
Okay, thank you all. That takes us to public comments, and Mrs. Hahn, you're our public. In case you have any other matters you'd like to bring up.
I'm good.
Okay, thank you so much. Everybody else had to move along. So closing comments from my colleagues. Mr. Kennedy?
I'm good.
Okay, thank you, sir. And Mr. Sanada? Fine as well. All righty, I appreciate that. From our friends at the far table over there, or Mr. Vanasco, anything we've overlooked? Okay, thank you. That being said, all business having been conducted, may I please have an adjournment
I'll
motion?
make that motion.
And I'll second. Thank you both. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye, opposed, the same sign. Motion carried. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everybody, and I think Mr. Vanasco will turn off the screen over there. Debbie today, which is all right.
Here.